All right, good Saturday morning, everyone. And for the couple of us that are in Japan, it is late at night. It has been a long week with lots and lots of meetings and lots of success. And so I'm going to go through and share some exciting corporate updates. But before I do, I want to let this guy hop off because he's literally been in meetings all day and all night. But there's some exciting things happening in Japan, and I wanted to get this going and let you guys know about what's happening. I wanted him to give a little update on what's happened this week in Japan, the cities that we've been to, the markets that we've been in, and how things have been happening over here. And I thought, what better way than to let the guy who's kind of helping lead the charge here in Japan, making things happen. It's been a very exciting week here. We've put in tons of sales. There's a lot of recognition happening in Japan that we haven't even gotten a chance to tell you about and share with you. There's some reasons for that and some strategy reasons for that, but sales are literally exploding here in Japan. And we've been in multiple cities. I'll let him share with you a little bit about that. But before I get into some of the corporate updates and the rest of the training today, I just thought it would be great for you guys to hear straight from the source. So I'm going to actually make him the spotlight and let him share with you what his experience has been this week in Japan, some of what we've done, some of the success stories. And like I said, unfortunately, for some strategic purposes, we can't talk about specific names in some of these examples, but sales are literally exploding. It is our #1 international market, and a couple of these cities are our top cities. So really exciting things happening in some of these markets and some of these cities. And so without further ado, I'm going to bring on the guy who's leading the charge here with me and helping with everything here. So I'm going to make Scott the spotlight. Thank you, Scott, so much for being on. I know you've been up now for almost 24 hours with meetings with me and getting things rolling, and you've just gotten back to the hotel with more meetings late tonight. So thank you so much for tuning in. Can you just tell everybody a little bit about kind of what the mood has been like here in Japan and what we've been doing, where we've been this week, where things are happening, because I think everybody wants to know what's going on in Japan. So can you tell them a little bit about it, Scott?
Sure. Sure, I'd be happy to. Thanks, Wes. My name is Scott Schafer. I'm over here in Fukuoka, Japan, which is kind of on the west side of Japan with Wes. And we've been traveling around. We started in Tokyo. We came to kind of working our way westward. We went to Nagoya, which is between Tokyo and Osaka. Then we went to Osaka, and then from Osaka, we actually did a stop for a short meeting in Hiroshima. And then we came to Fukuoka, where we are today. So today was our first official meeting that we did. We did some small meetings along the way, but our first meeting in a facility, we did that today in Fukuoka. We had a nice turnout there. We had a lot of excitement. The Japanese people are kind of stoic when they're listening, but when the meeting's over, everyone starts, the buzz starts. And there was just a lot of activity. It was real exciting. Got some good reports of people that were really excited to get started with Bryte Lyfe that came to the meeting today. So it's been really good so far. So we have tomorrow we have a meeting in going back towards Tokyo. We're stopping in Nagoya to do a meeting there which is the 9th, or let's see, the 9th here. It's past midnight. I'm looking at my
Trust
clock.
me, I'm doing the same thing too. I'm like, wait, what? Wait, today,
What day
because
is
it's
it?
Saturday morning, but we're already into Sunday now for us. So it's a little crazy.
We're into early Sunday, yeah. So anyway, we're heading back then to Nagoya tomorrow to do our second official meeting here in Japan. We got a really good leader. We have two really good leaders right now. One is in Fukuoka, another one is in Nagoya, and we'll be doing that meeting tomorrow. And then our last one is on the 10th. That will be in Tokyo. So we're doing our last meeting in Tokyo. So we're doing 3. We've had a lot of small meetings with leaders. There's a lot of interest amongst people, in the network marketing industry, but a lot of first timers as well. So I think the response has been great, and there's just a lot of excitement. We come out of the pandemic, and there's reasons to travel. People are excited about traveling, and so we think this is really good timing. to grow the business here. And I think that this will. I'm hoping this continues to be our best international market, Wes. To be honest, we're going to keep working on it, and I think it'll be a strong market for us.
One of the things that I loved tonight, Scott, was when Chris came up earlier, he asked everybody in the room to share what the number one thing on their bucket list was, which I loved, and I loved hearing the different responses. Can you talk a little bit about that and kind of just tell everybody how that happened and what
Sure.
the energy was in the room?
Sure. We're working with a guy named Chris who's he speaks Japanese and as well as I do, and we basically went around the room. We gave him the mic kind of after the meeting, towards the end of the meeting, and asked Chris to share some things. And he actually went around the room and took the cordless mic and asked people, "What's your bucket list destination?" And we heard many destinations. The one that really surprised me was someone said Georgia. I don't think that's on our bucket list destinations, but anyway, not the state, but the country of Georgia. But anyway, I think the winner, West, if I remember correctly, was Italy. We had more people saying they wanted to go to Italy from Japan than any other place. But we had the Maldives was one. There were several. I think there was someone that wanted to go on an African safari.
Yep.
So we also heard someone mention today, I thought was interesting, a survey was done of people in Japan who are in their 80s, and they were asked the question, if you have any regret in life, what would it be? And the first regret people said was, the number one regret was that I didn't take the trips that I wished I would have.
Yeah.
So I think that, and I imagine the same thing probably holds true in other countries. It's not unique to Japan. So. But anyway, that was great when kids went around.
I loved that because when we got there, when you and I arrived earlier this week, we were trying to figure out the literal translation of bucket list, because bucket list is slang, and I'm sure most of because you've seen the movie with Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson, and you've seen the bucket list. And so the idea is things you would do before you would die, kick the bucket. I mean, that's where bucket list came from. It's like, before you kick the bucket, what are the things that you want to do? What do you want to see before it's your time? And so once we started explaining really what the purpose was behind Bryte Lyfe and bucket list trips, you could see immediately, because that word doesn't have a literal translation into Japanese. So anytime I hear Scott or Chris or anybody talking, then I hear bucket list, because it's all this Japanese and then bucket list. And then after we started telling people the story and talking to people about what a bucket list was, what that meant, because the majority of the people that we've been meeting with this week do not speak English. And so for me, it was quite interesting as an outsider to observe, once people realized what we were trying to accomplish and what a bucket list trip was, from the real meaning, because like I said, that phrase does not have a literal translation in Japanese. I thought it was really powerful, because watching as Scott's doing this in the room, and then seeing their response once they figure out what we're going to do and where we're going to send them and how they're going to get to go. And for those of you that don't know, the app is already translated into Japanese. So everything that we have inside the app, other than just hotel details, is already translated. The team's already built it, because the team's been growing so fast in Japan. And so everything is translated into Japanese. So as they download the app, the app is set up to display in the language preference that's on the phone. So these are all things that I'm learning too, as I'm here and as Scott's here. So as they download the app and they start to fill out the survey now is in Japanese. And so people are literally filling out the survey, and telling us what's on their bucket list. And now people are hearing in a live setting or presentation, because we've done lots of these presentations, some small groups, some one-on-ones, two-on-ones. And then, tonight was our first big event. You can see immediately, once they realize what we're going to do here and what we're building and what we're creating and the memories that we're trying to create, the mood changes completely. Because like Scott said, the culture here in Japan, and I've been here to build in the past, but not this in depth. And so the cultural differences are obvious in some instances. And so the literally the energy changes immediately. It's like people say, you have chemical reactions in the brain to certain words, and I'm sure it's the same in Japanese. The words may be different, but they've done all kinds of studies that talk about how the human brain responds just to vocabulary. And it was mind-blowing for me to see the room change as Scott's explaining what a bucket list is, what that word means, and then the energy just shifts immediately and people start getting excited. And I saw this real time before my eyes every day this week in multiple occasions. And then again tonight, when I just thought it was great whenever we asked everybody in the room what was on their bucket list, immediately the energy changes and there's a shift. And it's so crazy that cross culturally, across language barriers, in different time zones and different, nationalities and parts of the world, but that's still that inherent, dream among people to, go to places they've never been is so powerful. And I don't think until tonight, I mean, I'm watching this week as we're here, but until tonight, when he did that, when Chris did that, I that was to me the most obvious shift of energy in a culture that is very, the way I would describe it is very proper, very polite, very reserved. And it's just the way the culture is here. But when you start talking about bucket list, and then people are talking about it tonight where they want to go, it was amazing. I mean, you were on the different side of that, Scott, but what has people's response been about our kind of our company vision and the things that we're trying to do and how it's been received in Japan?
Well, I think, like I said earlier, a lot of people want to take trips, they want to go on trips, but they don't plan for them well. They don't budget for them well, they don't plan for them well. So I think a lot
Yeah.
of them are seeing this as a way for us to help them realize the trip that they've put off, or they didn't save up for and they canceled it. That's last minute. So I think one of the things I learned today, I didn't even know this, that someone said that there's a bank here they actually have a type of savings account. It's called a travel savings account, where you put money into the bank account to put away for your trip. So, I think the concept of what we're doing with the bucket list trip, every year go to that destination that you've always wanted to go to, I think kind of aligns with that kind of thinking. But I think the reaction has been really, really positive, and I'm really looking forward to sharing this with a lot more people.
We've signed up hundreds of people in Japan, so it's without a doubt, our number one international market. And then, like I said, a couple of these cities are in the top cities that we have right now. I mean, the app's been live for 2.5 weeks. We just finished our second commission run, for those of you that are in the U.S. yesterday. For us that are in Japan, it was Friday was a day and a half ago, but the commission run is at the same time, so it's at the same time around the world. So it's actually Saturday in Japan when the commissions hit, and it's Friday Texas time whenever the commissions hit. But anything else, Scott, that you've seen? I mean, obviously you've been, so Scott, just I mean, he's super conservative guy. He's not going to brag on himself, but I mean, this guy is somebody who knows a ton about the industry. He's been a top earner in multiple companies, and so this is not his first rodeo. Any other thoughts or feedback, things that you've seen or heard, or people's feedback on Bryte Lyfe and what we're doing here that really makes this so special?
I think they're starting to come to the realization that this is way broader and deeper than they originally thought. I mean, I think they thought it was kind of just a simple travel agent kind of website thing that you get a link and you share with people, and they kind of looked at it as something like that. But I think they're figuring out, and I've shared with them, I've been sitting next to Wes on the bullet train, and it kind of, hearing a little bit of his phone calls and what's going on and all the stuff he's doing with the IT team and so forth. So I've gathered that, and I think a lot of the people here, especially I don't know if you remember the guy that was wearing the mask today. He came up to me, he says, this is just way bigger than I thought. I'm blown away, you know. And Japanese people don't say stuff like that often, but he was really, really excited. So I think they're starting to realize that the technology behind this and all the effort that's put into this, the preparation that's been put into this is creating something that's going to be not only big in Japan, but it's going to be lasting in Japan and gives people here in Japan the opportunity to grow a business outside of Japan and to be able to actually earn income from activity in a foreign market and earn in dollars, which, as many of you don't know, the dollar is very strong against the yen right now. So it's an attractive thing for them to be able to earn money from an international market and earn it in dollars. So I think if there's anything, Wes, that I gathered, it was that they're starting to realize that this is a much bigger project and there's much more to it than they originally thought.
Also, I think bringing up the gentleman that you described is very educated. This is a guy who is highly educated here in Japan and has had experience with a lot of businesses, and not just MLM, but businesses in general. And what was it that he had said tonight about a, a professor that he had worked with, and he had talked about the different components of the business? And I know he didn't get into all the specifics, but what was
Yeah,
it that he had said tonight? Because it really struck me when he
yeah,
said that. This is
yeah,
coming from a different culture completely, but
yeah.
still, and obviously business wise, there's a lot of differences, some similarities. You start to see that as you spend time here. But I thought it was interesting what he pointed out. Can you tell him a
Yeah.
little bit about that?
Sure. This gentleman knows a professor of a university here I think he was here in Fukuoka, and this guy is kind of an economist type of professor, and he shared with this gentleman what basically the main traits or the characteristics of a successful company were, and what pieces have to align for a company to be successful. And this professor is not some guy with a direct selling background or anything like that, but he shared with this guy we call Akia is his name. He said to him, "What I've seen in this Bryte Lyfe thing you're telling me about, they got all the pieces in a row. They got them all lined up, and I think this is going to have some serious growth to it." So I thought that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I think it's like you talked about earlier. It's not just impressive what we've done in the network marketing world, but
Right.
just in the business world in general. I think your comment about how this is bigger than a lot of people thought, like the potential is,
Mhm.
because our goal is not to be, just a big network marketing company. Our goal is to be a massive business around the world in a and have global impact well beyond the industry. Because when you look at network marketing, in my opinion, and I've been doing this now for over 20 years, travel for almost 30, and network marketing for over 20, and direct sales for 30. So, unfortunately, I have a lot of experience, because I've been doing this a long time. But it's like we're already, in my opinion, with what we have, our tech, we're already the premier opportunity in network marketing. I mean, we don't have any competition. Somebody asked me the other day, when we were here, who's your biggest competitor? And I said, well, in network marketing, we don't really have competition, because out of the gate, I mean, we're 2.5 weeks old. We're already in 20 countries, basically. And our app has been downloaded thousands of times. And our competitors don't even have an app. And some of you that follow me on social media, you saw I posted this, and I try not to pick on people too much and pick on other companies. And I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to point out some obvious things that really should reiterate how powerful this opportunity is. So there's people here on this Zoom right now that are not taking advantage of what you have your hands on right now. And not only are we already the premier opportunity in travel and entertainment in the direct sales space, but I think we have a trajectory to be a household name in general with travel, lifestyle, entertainment, and community. And I think we're seeing how global the reach can be just being here in Japan for this week?
You know, it's you said something that kind of struck a chord with me right now. This notion of community. You know, this last 4 years have been crazy years where people got isolated.
Yeah.
You know, people stayed home, they didn't go to work, and isolation is never a good thing for people, never. And so when you mentioned community, I think that's something that so many people, not only in the US, not only in Japan, everywhere in the world, you know, are looking to reconnect with people, have new relationships, you know, and of course, if possible, travel and have fun at the same time. So I think that's a real key word. And I think as we move forward and do more meetings over here, I think that's something I think we really need to emphasize. Because Japanese people, I know in Japan, a lot of people they tend to be shy, and making new friends is something that's a little difficult for people just because they're shy. But by being a part of this, you just naturally get some adopted brothers and sisters, you know, when you come into the group and into the family. So I think the community aspect of this is huge. So I like to thank Wes for putting this together.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Scott, I mean, it's an honor to work with you. You're a tremendous leader. You've had a lot of experience in the industry. Before I let you go, because I do think your industry experience is important, you know, and we obviously have been doing this for about the same amount of time. Can you talk a little bit about some of the components? Because we've been discussing it a lot this week, because several of the people that we've met with here in Japan have networking experience. Well, what's great about what we do is it's been kind of a mix. It's been kind of almost 50-50. We have some people that have been doing this full time as a career for a decade or longer. And then,
Mhm.
and even a couple people that have been doing it longer than you and I have, you know, that are older than we are, and but also some new people. But the feedback that we've been getting about the things that really are different about this opportunity in regards to the network marketing space, because you have been doing this for a long time, and the things that really set this apart from beyond the travel and the tech and the business stuff, but on the network marketing side. Can you talk about that, and then I'll let you go get some sleep.
Okay. Well, I think, you know, we've all, for those of us who have been around the industry a while, we've you know, the old term lotions and potions. We've all seen the companies that specialize in products, and there's great products out there. I take some products
Sure.
from the industry, and and I don't mean to badmouth any company, of course, but I think what a lot of people, especially those that have been in the industry, are starting to see that um, with this, with Bryte Lyfe, we're not trying to basically we're not trying to get someone to change habits or anything like that. People already want to travel. You know, they've got a lot, some of them have already, you know, bucket list destinations that they've thought of over the years and wanted to visit. Um, but all we're doing is basically showing them another way they can do it, and a way they can not only take those trips and experience those things, but also make some money and help some other people in the meantime do the same thing. So I think the fact that you don't have to educate people on what travel is, I think, is a really big point. And then, you know, my experience, the first company I really worked with, the first two they were supplement companies, and so when you're talking supplements, you often get into, you know, disease names and certain conditions and talking about those. And frankly, that's maybe not the funnest thing to talk about. But I think with travel, just people love to travel. They love to take pictures and show pictures to, you know, their friends where they've been. And so I think what people here are realizing, especially those that come from the industry, is that it's a fun subject. It's something that everybody wants to do. And like you said once, I thought it was kind of funny, Wes. You said people, they want to go to Hawaii, but they don't need to know how the volcanic eruptions formed the islands. You know, it's just they want to
Right.
go. They want to go to
Yeah.
Hawaii. And so I think that's kind of the simple aspect of it that people really like, is that, you know, we know people want to travel. We can just show them how to do it.
Yeah. Well, I agree. You know, we've made a good team this week, Scott. Our trip is coming to an end. We've got two more cities, two big events also left. One in Tokyo and one back in Nagoya. So we're gonna be back in two of the larger cities over the next 48 hours for us here. And so I appreciate your leadership. Chris has been great too. I mean, it's been great getting a chance to work with you and your leaders. We've met so many people that I'm excited to have the rest of the team meet and hear from. I know there's some strategic reasons that we're not able to share with everybody and allow them to hear from everyone, but I know that the team appreciates your leadership, and the corporate team does as well, and your help with getting things translated and getting us information that we need to have translated, and your communication with the company. You've been a big part of why we've had this early success in Japan. So it's been an honor to work with you this week, bud. I appreciate you, and I know
Thank
that
you.
everybody's looking forward to seeing you in Tulum. And also, that's one other thing. We're going to have several people in Tulum from Japan. We've already got multiple people that have committed this week to booking the Tulum trip when that comes live, literally in just probably 48 hours now. I'm going to give some updates on that in just a second. So thank you again, Scott. Really appreciate you. I'll let you turn your camera off.
And let me go
And
to bed.
exactly. So thanks,
Thank
bud.
you very much.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. All right. See you.
All right. So I am going to start the official training, although to me, this is one of the most powerful things that we could talk about or could go through because, it has been an incredible week in Japan with the sales explosion here and how things have been happening. So it's exciting to hear all of this, and I'm sure you're as excited as I am, because I think it just tells you and reminds you again how big this opportunity is, and how big the potential is for what we're building. So just some corporate updates, and then I'm going to go through some training and talk about some of what's working, what I'm seeing in Japan that's working, what I'm seeing in other markets, talking to other leaders. And so I'm going to get into that today. But we just finished our second commission run, so congratulations for everybody that earned residual this week. Friday is residual day, and love seeing the posts for people that earned residual and knowing that once again thousands of dollars was paid out yesterday. And we also got the artwork submitted, and it's been approved for the physical pay quicker cards. So some of you have asked about the ability to have a physical card, because when you get paid your commissions, you can transfer the money directly electronically into your bank account. But you also get immediately from your first commission, you get a virtual debit card that you can use, and you can spend the money real time immediately by using that virtual debit card. But they also have now approved our artwork, so we will have our very own Bryte Lyfe debit card that you will have access to, and you'll be able to receive. And so that will be coming very soon. You'll see that option going forward, if not this next commission run, probably within the next two, to be able to get that physical card. Obviously, you just heard from Scott with the Japan market really being on fire here. People are so excited. The energy is crazy. Like I said, you just kind of have to be here and see it to understand. But we're already in 18 countries. And the beta version of the app now is well over $100,000. It's probably now because I've been here in full build mode in Japan this week, so I've been getting some updates, but have been focused more on some of the new enhancements, some of the translations, some of the new features. But I want to remind everybody, if you've not watched last week's training, please go back and watch last week's training, because I can't go through everything every week. It's something that you'll see that every one of these trainings we've done, they've all been recorded and they've all been posted, and they all have different information. So every single week we've done new information, new content. And so you should go back and watch all of them. But most importantly, I would start at the most recent training and work your way back to the very beginning, because once you get to the pre-launch, you don't really have to watch all of the pre-launch strategy stuff because we're out of that. But the first launch trip will officially be up this week. We actually had it up in the test environment this week, because remember, we're building this enterprise level application, and now it's kind of the analogy is it's like working on a Ferrari while you're driving it, because now the app is up, and so we actually work congruently while the app is live in a test environment. And so we had the Tulum trip up in the test environment, but we did find something because it is our own internal system. So this will be the very first time that we've had our own internal reservation system, which flags a unique reservation number, which it has a lot of the internal accounting and reporting features that's built into our reservation database. Because remember, we talked about it last week, we are not a travel company. So we're an aggregator. As we bring in some new contracts that have already been signed, that we're already going to be building and integrating, there will be different components of those contracts where we will be handling different levels of customer service and support and fulfillment as we grow the company. But remember, we're an aggregator. So that not only does that have to do with what we display, and remember last week we talked about how we don't have any control over what's displayed, and that also includes prices. So we've had some people that have seen where a price is shown and then they get to the book out screen and the price has changed or it's no longer available. That has nothing to do with us. It has to do with the inventory as it's updated on the GDS platforms around the world. And so smaller hotels and smaller towns are smaller to update that, or slower to update that information. But understanding that when we built this new booking platform for the Tulum trip, this has been built while the app has been running. And so, like I said, it's kind of like, it'd be like if you saw the F1 and they did the pit stops, instead of them being pit stops, a car pulled up next to the Ferrari while they're going 200 or 300 miles an hour. And you could imagine like seeing the guys like hanging across, trying to change the wheels or parts on the car while it's driving 300 miles an hour down the road. You could understand how that would be very scary and almost impossible. And so we had every anticipation of having that up this week, but there were some database communication with our different systems and platforms. And so we decided to hold it until Monday, and we are not, our development team, because it's such high level, and they've been literally for the last month almost working every weekend and around the clock, and even over the holiday weekend in the US a couple weeks ago, they were working. So we're going to have it up probably Tuesday at the latest. It might be Monday. But here's what I need from you guys is that when that trip goes up, because we have cutoffs with the rooms and the blocks of rooms, and you need to make sure you're communicating this with your team. It's very important that you go book that Tulum trip immediately. And we made this special exception for people to be able to book with a 300 per person deposit. So it's $600 because it's based on 2 people to a room, as we've discussed many times. So you can do that. If you want to go ahead and pay for the trip in full, that would be great. But we have to cut the rooms off, and we're literally only about 12 days, 13 days away from when that has to be done. So it's very important. We're only 2 months out, actually, right now, two months from today, we will be in Tulum. So there's some very, very tight and sensitive deadlines. So it's very important that all of you work together with your teams when the trip goes up, that you get it booked, let your team know. Obviously, we're going to talk again briefly about how to use the trip to recruit, but that will be live in the next 72 hours. It's very important that you get that word out to your team and get everybody to book that immediately. And there have been a lot of updates to the app. In fact, that was one of the consistent comments that I've gotten from the Japanese team this week, was a lot of people said, wow, the app is updating every day. I know a lot of you have seen it. I've seen it because I've been on the app a lot and using it to show people the savings. So we've been, we've had it in our hands, and every day this week there's been an update. There's been a lot of updates to the App Store, to the Google Android store. And so tons of improvements, enhancements. We've had updates to the back office. We talked about the travel dollars last week, how you'll be able to spend them approximately the first week of July. But the tracker for the travel dollars is live. You will see those in your back office now. Remember, if you want to understand the back office and the commission preview and some of the stuff we talked about last week, please go back and watch the training from last week. But just know that just this week, there's been tons of updates to the back office, tons of updates to the app. They're finishing some final integrations to rep tools in the back office on the app. So you'll start to see that over the next couple of weeks as well. And so all of these updates, all of these enhancements, the Tulum trip booking, everything we've been doing, we've got some video content coming from Corey, which you guys are going to love. Then we'll be coming with some personal development content that we've been working on. So lots of updates over the next few weeks and even the couple of months that are coming. You're going to see the condos and villas, the more of the timeshare type properties. You're going to see that they're working on that. We've got a new feed that is about to go live. They're working on car rentals. It's crazy. I mean, literally, and Scott mentioned all of the phone calls that I've been on and in the chats that I'm in with the development teams and the different groups that are working on projects for us. It's very exciting times. And so make sure that you get the word out on the Tulum trip. Start looking at flights. Get ready to book flights. You can book them. The dates are set. The contract is signed. So if you want to go ahead and book flights, I would encourage you to do that. And remember, all of our founders are guaranteed a room on this trip as long as you sign up before the cutoff, which is July 1st. We're going to have to release some rooms. I believe it's June 22nd or 21st. So very important that you get signed up for this and let your people know. Corey spoke about his physical fitness content. Corey also helped this week and last week with the Wednesday with Wes presentation, and he's added some physical fitness slides into his presentation. So if you've not gotten a chance to hear Corey yet, tune in on Wednesday. He's going to be doing it again this coming Wednesday. So Wednesday with Wes will be Wednesday with Corey. But it'll be at the Wednesday with Wes address. He's done that the last couple weeks. He'll do that again for me as I will be still in Asia this coming Wednesday. And so get signed up for this when it's there. And remember, go back and watch last week's training. We talked about these tips, how to use the trip as a way to invite people and as a way to get them on the Zooms and as a way to get them to live events. Whether you're doing a live event in your market or you want to start one, this Tulum trip is a great reason to host a live event. You know, if you want to put a group together to go to Tulum, which we're encouraging everyone to do, a live event to have people come over to your house or meet at a coffee shop to plan your group trip to Tulum. I know a lot of you are used to traveling with friends and family. What better way to expose them to Bryte Lyfe than to get a group together and talk to them about the Tulum trip? You've seen several posts. Whitney and Tiffany and George and Ella have posted and shared and talked about different examples of posts, but focusing more on the who's coming with me, who wants to join me. You know, you can tell people you just booked it or you're booking it this week. You want to know who wants to come with you to Tulum, 50% off. You know, don't sell them too much, but just focus on some of the high points. The $549 price is killer. And it's very affordable for people. And then, of course, I've told everybody, go ahead and book your flights and do your research on Tulum. Figure out if you're flying into Cancun or if you're flying into the new Tulum airport. And then this week also, part of the update with the Tulum booking trip, you will see the ability to order signs as well. A couple of you put orders in this week. Those will be going out this week as well. So if you've not already, you can shoot me a DM if you want to get them as a group and get them for $1 a sign. You can send me a DM if you've got your order ready and talk to your team, and let's get those signs ordered and in people's hands. The photos that I took when I was on my cruise with my daughter a week ago, and the photos that we've taken here in Japan, in some of the different places that we've been taking pictures with the sign, with all the different groups. And unfortunately for me on this trip, it's not a sightseeing trip, so I haven't gotten a chance to go to some of these awesome sites. I've gotten a chance to see them very fast on the bullet train as we've been traveling around from city to city. But Scott and Chris and the team have had me literally booked solid. So order your signs so you can get those out there. Now, this week, I really want to focus on what is working. Now that I've seen in multiple markets now, I've talked to multiple leaders, people that have hit the top ranks that have been achieved so far. I've had a lot of calls this week with different leaders and teams. And so I want to go through what they're doing, what's working, because I think that we have this special opportunity. And I don't think that we realize it a lot of times. I think that we take it for granted. Even myself, you know, I had I went through about a probably, I don't know, it was probably 20 meetings in a row, 20 Zooms in a row, where I had personal guests on the Zoom and was signing people up after every single Zoom. But then over the last 10 days, I've been traveling. So I was on the cruise and then in Asia. And then, we had the launch. And so I've been signing people up. In fact, I signed somebody up yesterday. We signed up another person in Australia. So Australia is a market that's probably about to get exciting for us, because we've got multiple people now in Australia. And so I signed up somebody in Australia this week myself while I was traveling here in another time zone. They're in another time zone. I live in a different time zone. And so I got them on a Zoom. I signed up somebody on Sunday from the States that got on the Zoom. And so I was on one of the Zooms. And so, but for me, because I've been traveling, I personally have not been as consistent as I was for the first month. I had somebody on every Zoom, myself, every single Zoom. I had guests on that were my guests, even though I could do the presentation at any point. I'm still trying to use the system, because remember, how you do it is how they will do it. What they see is what they do. Okay. And it's the best way to train in this business and to achieve duplication, which we've consistently talked about in these trainings as the powerful part of this business. Duplication is the key. So being systematic and doing the same things and getting into the same routine and using these Zooms. And I talked about it last week. The Zooms are literally 15 minutes. Whitney even did one the other night. It was like 9 minutes or 10 minutes. Okay. So there's no reason why you can't get on these Zooms every Sunday through Thursday, because you're talking about literally an hour's worth of your time a week. And I mean, that's not even considered part-time. In the US, when you're doing something part-time, part-time is like 10 to 20 hours a week. I would challenge that most of you on this Zoom are really not even part-time. So you need to really reclassify yourself with this business opportunity, because we know you're not full-time. Okay. There's really nobody that's full-time other than me right now. We have a couple of people internally that between their commitments and their teams and some of the things they're doing, they're probably close. But I would challenge that there's probably no one in the world right now, other than maybe Scott and a couple of other people, that are full-time with Bryte Lyfe, right? So if you're going to classify your work ethic and your commitment, there's full-time, there's part-time, and then I would say that probably the majority of you are very sporadic, like some of the time. All right. Because it's not part-time, because once again, part-time in the US and kind of historically with other even other cultures and countries, part-time is 10 to 20 hours a week. But remember, if you're on every Zoom, that's a little over an hour, right? Because Sunday through Thursday, and if you're doing Wednesday with Wes, Wednesday with Corey, and then you're doing the training, you're talking about 2 or 3 hours work max, right? So, and that's even including inviting, because if the Zooms are an hour and the training's been a little over an hour each week, you're talking about 2 to 2.5 hours worth of actual work on the Zooms. And then if you're inviting, what are you inviting? Another 30 minutes? Because I would say that the companies, I mean, we've just gotten started, and yes, we're at about 1,000 members or whatever the number is right now. But the thing is that, I mean, we've got a lot of work to do. I mean, we have a lot of people to talk to. I mean, for me, I haven't even had a chance to follow up with everybody who's asked me from the sign or from my post that I've taught you guys how to post, and you've seen some of my posts. And remember, in the pre-launch, a lot of my posts were for you, but my posts that have been vague or kind of just alluded to Bryte Lyfe or mentioned Bryte Lyfe, not been salesy, I've had a lot of responses and a lot of questions. People are not asking you questions. You're not posting the right way on social media. So that means that, there's a lot of people that you got to talk to. Why is it that people don't just start in the A's on their phone and just literally start sending the text? Hey, do you want to go to Tulum with me? Hey, we're going to Tulum in August, 50% off with the number one new hotel in all of Mexico, one of the highest rated hotels in all of Mexico, the best spa in Mexico. We're going. Do you want to come with me? Why has that text not been sent out? I mean, ladies, if you're single, to get in your groups of girlfriends, right? Guys, I mean, what better way than to travel date? If you got somebody you want to go out with, or you've been wanting to ask out, what better way to get a yes than to ask them to come to Tulum? So why have we not talked to more people about this trip? Why have we not gotten in front of more people? Why have we not gotten more people on the Zooms? And so, I want to remind you that we need you on the Zooms, right? The more people we have, the more bodies that are on there, the more cities, the more states, the more countries. These Zooms are going to continue to grow to where we have people on the Zooms from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 countries, 5, 10, 15, 20 states, but we need to recommit to being on those Zooms, because remember, if you're inviting people on the Zooms, you need to be on the Zoom too, because your people are not going to be on the Zooms if you're not. That also includes your team. So if you're setting examples for your teams, I want to commend the corporate team, because the corporate team has roles and duties that they're providing for corporate. They're building teams. They've got their own teams. They're doing meetings. They're inviting, Whitney and Tiffany this week. They've ran multiple Zooms. They ran coffee with Whit and Tiff on Thursday. They ran the happy hour on Wednesday night in Frisco. So they ran all the Zooms. They covered my Zooms. They did the Thursday morning. They did the Wednesday happy hour, and they've been inviting, and they've made sales, and they've signed people up, and they run other businesses. Whitney has other businesses. Tiffany's a successful realtor, and Tiffany has been working on new marketing and branding for her new real estate company that she's with. I mean, and they still are getting all these things done. So once again, it's what kind of role. So I want to commend all of you. Corey, unless Corey's running a church service or an outreach program, he is on every Zoom. He's on every presentation. He's covered them for me. I mean, and Corey runs his own church, and he has his own fitness community, and he's a personal trainer, and he's still on every Zoom. So it's like, what's your excuse, right? I mean, these people are committed, and they're on all this stuff, and they're setting the example for their teams, and they have, some of the fastest growing teams and leaders in the company. But remember, if you're telling people to get on the Zoom, but you're not getting on the Zooms yourself, your people are not going to do it. They're not going to get guests on it. They're not going to be on it if you're not on it. And so getting on these Zooms. So tomorrow night, Sunday night, that's the next one. We need you on those Zooms. I love it, and I see the same people regularly. We've got a lot of people on there from PA and New Jersey, and we've got people on there from Frisco and Dallas and the DFW area, which is obviously a good market for us, because a lot of the corporate team lives there. And so we see people from the same places, and then I see some of the same people consistently on these Zooms. So we need you on the Zooms. We love it. We love having your energy on there, but you also need us, because learning the presentation, learning the information, learning how to present it, there's going to be a day and time when most of you will be presenting live in your markets. We had our first live event this week in Dallas. That's going to be a weekly event. So we did it Wednesday night at Concrete Cowboy. We're doing it again next Wednesday night at Concrete Cowboy. And then the following week, we're going to be moving over to Tuesdays, because I'll be back. And we're doing it at a place called Snowbird in Frisco in the Star. And it's going to be every Tuesday. So rain, shine, we will be there Tuesdays. And so if you know people in the DFW area, this live event is happening. So whether it's 2 people, 10 people, 100 people, 200 people, and there will be markets that will do that. And just so you know, there are meetings that I started in World Ventures, and those teams have moved on after World Ventures, where those meetings that I signed contracts for 20 years ago, they're still doing weekly meetings. Weekly meetings, live events should be a part of your business. And so if you're not doing a live meeting in your market, if you're not getting together to do a watch party once a week, if you're not getting together and pushing play, in my book, I literally tell you how to run the events. I tell you how to put the events together, how to get venues for free, how to reserve them, how to promote it. I go through all of that in my book. And so several of you reached out, and the books will be coming out this week. I actually was moving this week too while I was out of the country. I know I'm literally insane sometimes. And so the books and the signs will be going out this week. And so if you've not already said you want one, shoot me a DM when we're off, and we will get a book out to you. The book goes through an entire 2 chapters on events and promoting events and how to get them there, how to organize them, how to run them. But don't let that be an excuse. Don't wait on that. Get with me, get with the other leadership team, get with Tiffany and Whit. They talk to people about the live event on their Thursday coffee. Go back and watch those. But the other thing is that you should be putting this together yourself, because you should be setting the pace, right? Don't wait for somebody else in your market. Don't wait until you have enough people. Just start somewhere, even if it's 2 or 3 people. I mean, if you haven't seen my post this week, several of the meetings that we've done in Japan have been for onesies, twosies, one-on-one, 2-on-1s, 3-on-1, 4-on-1. That's been most of what we've done. So why are you not doing live events? Why are you not meeting with people? Watch the Zoom live. Get them to come, to your house in the evening, or meet for Wednesday breakfast or coffee to do the Wednesday one, and listen to Corey. He does a great job with the information as well. So use these events, but turn them into live events. And then the other thing you can do is you can literally stream. Most TVs now have YouTube. And so if not, stream your phone, stream your laptop, or go to YouTube TV, and you can watch the presentation. You can watch the 6-minute one on that we have at What is Bryte Lyfe. You can also go watch the last recorded one that's on the sign up page, which is 14 minutes. And so do a live event. I want to challenge everyone here to be on the Sunday night Zoom tomorrow night, but also to do a live event this week, whether it's you and your spouse or 2 other people or 1 other person, and it's a 2-on-1 or a 1-on-3, get something started in your market. I want to challenge everybody to do that. And I would encourage you to let me know and take pictures, do selfies, post them, tag Bryte Lyfe. I want to share those. We've got people monitoring the social media pages every day. So if you're doing live events, tag yourself, take a selfie with your team, with your group, with your prospects. Let's get live events happening in all of our markets, because I'm ready to come on tour. I'm going to be coming to the New York, New Jersey area in a couple weeks. That's going to be probably one of my first markets to hit when I get back to the US, other than the Dallas market. So I'm going to be coming to that area. So if you're in that area, you have contacts in that area, I am going to be coming to see you guys very soon. Looking at possibly the 22nd or the 23rd of June. And so then what I would also do is use the Tulum trip. I would, here's something we can do. Have a Tulum launch party. So have planned for Tuesday night, because the sign up will definitely be live by Tuesday, if not on Monday. And so plan a Tulum launch party, just like we did for the launch for the app a couple weeks ago. A lot of you did launch parties, or you streamed ours. You tuned in to the stream when we had it in Dallas. But have a launch party for Tulum. So plan a live Tulum trip planning party this week, and show the video, explain what we're doing, and then show Tulum, and let's get people signed up. Who wants to go? Let's plan it. Let's look at flights. Let's figure out, kids, who's going to watch the kids, or if we're going to bring the kids. Let's do a Tulum trip planning party this week in all of your markets, whether you've got 1 person on your team, no people on your team, 10 people on your team. Let's get the Tulum trip to be the focus this week. And then the other thing is, I want to encourage you in all of your conversations, in your prospecting, in your presentations, as you're asking people to sign up. So if you're getting them on the Zoom, instead of asking them what they thought, or are they ready to sign up, or whatever that question is, make the question you ask, what's on your bucket list? Where do you want to go? What would be on your bucket list as a member of Bryte Lyfe? It was so powerful tonight when Chris did that. I loved it. The energy changed immediately. And so I would encourage you to do that with all of your exposures, whether it's Zoom, whether it's a live presentation, whether it's a coffee meeting, a lunch meeting, whatever it is, share it. And then don't forget, you've got access to all these great tools. Are you going through the Bryte Lyfe Blueprint? Of course, we're not going to go through that right now. We've done that in multiple trainings. Tiffany covered it again last week, because we've made several updates to it as we've come out of pre-launch. That document is a work in progress. It's amazing. It's incredible. We've had feedback from all of our leaders and teams on that. So Bryte Lyfe Blueprint. Are you getting somebody signed up, and within 24 hours at a bare minimum, you're going through the Bryte Lyfe Blueprint? So don't set somebody up for failure. Set them up for success. That means that when you get them signed up, Don't just get them signed up and high five them and then leave them and abandon them. That's when your work begins. In this business, it's about duplication. This is not a sales business. This is not a commission job. This is a leverage team building opportunity. And so what is your system for getting duplication? You get somebody signed up. Are you meeting with them physically and walking them through the Bryte Lyfe blueprint? If you've not done that, I would encourage you this week to set up a meeting with everybody you've signed up and everybody that's on your team and go through the Bryte Lyfe blueprint. Go through that document with them. And then what is Bryte Lyfe? Remember, that's the 6-minute presentation, and you cannot send it out on Meta. That web address is blacklisted on Meta, but you can send it through any other form of media, or you can copy the direct link to that YouTube video. If you're sending it out through the DMs on Meta, Facebook, or Instagram, you can send out the direct Facebook or the direct YouTube link. Within a few weeks, probably 30 to 60 days at the max, all of our Reels technology and our link tracking technology, which is in testing now, is going to be starting to come online. So we're not going to have to worry as much about posting videos and sharing videos from YouTube, because you'll be able to do it right through the app. You'll be able to have features that are in your back office on the app. And so it'll be a little bit easier to do that. And then also we have Bryte Lyfe Compensation, which is the newest compensation plan video, making sure that you're having everybody that signs up watch that immediately so they know how to get paid. They know how the compensation plan works. They know about one left personal member, one right personal member. That's the only qualification we have. We still have some people that are a little confused about, what the difference is between a member and an influencer. A member is a customer. They're paying the $179. That's how we get paid. That's how you hit rank. You have to have one of those members paying on your left that you personally enrolled, one member that you personally enrolled on the right paying the $179. And if you go to rank advancement in the back office, you can click on rank advancement, and it'll show you every qualification you need for that rank and what your status is, okay? And also, just one other update, we did have some delays in the influencer payments last month. When the credit card merchant account company ran those recurring billing, they were done later. So some of you saw charges within a couple weeks of each other. It was because your second one, if you joined during the pre-launch, was charged late. So you stayed on the same billing date. So you may have seen a couple of charges that were closer together. And so if you saw any anomalies in your residual, if it said you were not current on your influencer, just shoot us a message, support@brytelyfe.com. We'll make sure you get credit for that. There was an anomaly in the charging of the influencer fees. And so we saw a couple of those and we've resolved it. So let us know if you have questions on the compensation or the qualifications. Talk to your upline, talk to the people who brought you in. They'll be glad to answer it for you and explain all of those different requirements on the rank advancement. And if you see something that you think you're confused on, or you need a clarification on, or whatever, just send a message, support@brytelyfe.com. We'll be glad to help you out. And then we, of course, have brytelifetraining.com, which you guys know because you're here right now. We've got a lot of people on here. They had some late starters this morning, but we're glad we've got so many people on here. This recording will go up as well once it's rendered. So get this, share this link with everybody on your team so that they watch it, so they know about the Tulum trip and booking this week and having live events. And then, of course, Bryte Lyfe presentation is the latest presentation in PDF form. So if you want to do your own presentations, you want the slides, you can go to brytelifepresentation.com. Remember that we have our brand new Get 10 to Win banner in Canva, along with our welcome member banners. If you've not gone and watched and had your team go and watch Ella's great videos on how to make the banners on Canva, those are in the Facebook group. Remember, referring 10 members pays you $1,000 in free travel. Those travel credits, which we're calling travel dollars, those will show up at the end of a commission run in your back office, and you will see those. And then you will be able to spend those in approximately 3 weeks, okay? So you'll be able to use those anywhere on the app. And so you also are going to be earning $300 residually as a Lifer 300. And so you can monitor your progress. You can go to personally enrolled, and you can see all of your personally enrolled members. You can also see where you are in regards to your rank on the rank advancement slide in the back office. So All of this information is there. There's going to be some new reports that we've been working on that are going to be going live very soon as well. And so you're going to see a lot of new features continue to pop up in the back office. If you're not already following us on Instagram, getting your people to do that, this is key because this is where our photo filters are. So if you saw the training last week, we talked about the 3 stars that are right there under the message button on the Bryte Lyfe Instagram page. That is how you get these photo filters. And we're encouraging everybody at least once a week, and we prefer to be on Travel Tuesday. So Travel Tuesday, we want you to post one of your photo filtered posts, a Bryte Lyfe post, a travel post. So at least one travel related post a week. And we prefer you do it on Travel Tuesday and use these photo filters, start to use them, put them on top of your travel photos. It could be old travel photos. It could be a photo of the Conrad in Tulum talking about the hotel there, but start to use these photo filters. People will start to notice our taglines and start to ask you about them. They do not say Bryte Lyfe on them. Those little Bryte Lyfe squares do not pop up on the photo filter. So it allows you to use the social media strategies that Whitney and Tiffany and George and Ella have talked about every week. And so make sure that you go follow the Instagram page, click on the 3 stars under the message button, download those photo filters. Once you use them, they will be in your Instagram page as a filter option. So I encourage everybody on Tuesday, if we're going to launch the Tulum trip on Tuesday, if people are going to have Tulum launch parties on Tuesday, it's Travel Tuesday. I want to see all these travel slides. So use the Travel is Life slide that you see there in the bottom right corner. Let's all use that slide this week. Let's all get it going viral. Start using these photo filters, setting an example for your team as they see you do that. And so before we wrap up, I just want to remind everybody that you have a very special opportunity right now. Very few people anywhere in the world have heard about what we're doing, okay? And so we're going to continue to talk to celebrities, to famous YouTubers, travel bloggers, travel influencers. In fact, I have a call next week when I get back with a travel influencer, and she has 482,000 followers on her Instagram page. And she is one of the most photographed and talked about in a lot of the travel blogs, talking about famous travel influencers, because that's all she does. And they're going to be coming on board, and she's going to be talking about a strategy with me on how to maximize her followers with Bryte Lyfe. She's got 482,000 followers, and I'm not going to tell you who she is right now, but several of you follow her. So, so almost 500,000 just from travel related posts. And so I would encourage you to be talking to people, to be talking to your contacts, to be talking to your friends and family, get them on the Zoom tomorrow night, because there is going to be instances over the next few weeks and few months where people that you know, your contacts, your friends, are going to be signed up by someone else. Somebody else is going to talk to them about this. Somebody else is going to think that they deserve to hear about it. They're going to invite them. They're going to get them on a Zoom. They're going to get them to one of these live events. And so why shouldn't it be you? Because it's already happened in Dallas. We've already had people show up at the launch party and they're like, oh, you're in? I didn't know you were in. Who told you? This has already happened, okay? And it's going to continue to happen. It's only going to get worse. You're going to have people that you know, that you trust, that you talk to on a regular basis, and somebody else is going to sign them up because you decided not to tell them. And so I would encourage you guys to not have that happen to you, because it is a very terrible feeling when you get around somebody and they become a big leader or a big deal in Bryte Lyfe, and they could have been on your team. They could have been in your organization. Why is it that you chose not to tell them about this? And so I would encourage you to get out there and tell everyone, start inviting. Let's focus on Tulum Tuesday. It'll be Travel Tuesday / Tulum Tuesday. Let's all have a Tulum launch party on Tuesday. Let's have a huge sales week this week. Continue to watch what's happening around the world. Make sure that you're getting on the Zooms. All the stuff we talked about on here today, get this to your teams. Have them watch this recorded training if they weren't on here this morning. It'll be posted later today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am going to go to sleep. It is almost 2 o'clock in the morning here. I have to be on the bullet train in like a few hours to go to another city. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. It was good to see everybody. I'll be glad to get home and see you guys again in Dallas. And congrats on the first of many weekly live events in Dallas. We'll see you guys very soon. Have a great weekend. We'll see you tomorrow night at 9 o'clock.